Hello there, this is Salas here. Lesson 3, let's go. We're talking about jobs today. Jobs, your work, basically. So, for example, what do you do, Mr. Salas? Oh, I'm an English teacher. That's what I do, right? So, for example, right? So let's check the dialogue here, okay? Listen, please.
Unit 2. What exercise 4? A. Listen and practice.
What do you do, Derek?
I work part-time as a server.
Oh, really? What restaurant do you work at?
I work at Stella's Cafe downtown.
That's cool. How do you like it?
It's okay. I'm on my feet all day, so I'm always tired. What do you do?
I'm a dancer.
A dancer? How exciting!
Yeah, it's great. I work with incredible people.
That sounds really nice. But is it difficult?
A little. I'm on my feet all day, too, but I love it.
Okay, perfect. By the way, in my case, I'm on my feet all day too. As an English teacher, it's very common because you are in the classroom and you are teaching English to everyone, but you are obviously on your feet, standing all the time on the whiteboard, talking, etc. So, here, for example, we have some vocabulary and some pronunciation to check. So it says, what do you do, Derek? No, what do you do? What do you do? A very, very common question in English. What do you do? What do you do, Mr. Salas? Oh, I'm an English teacher. No, for example. So in this case, Amy, so this is Amy here, right? That's Amy. She says, what do you do, Derek? This is Derek, by the way. And he says, I work part-time as a server. Server is another word for waiter. And I'm sure you know this word, right? The word waiter. Maybe you have heard the word or not. I'm not sure. But this word here, let me show you here. Waiter, right? Waiter for man or waitress for women. But server, it's very neutral. No? So waiter for boys, waitress for girls, but server, anything, no problem. He is a server, she is a server, no difference, all good. Perfect. Then she said, oh, and part-time, right? Part-time, medio tiempo, like in Spanish, no problem. So Amy says, oh, really? What restaurant do you work at? Right? What restaurant do you work at? So it's like, hey, where, right? Where? What restaurant do you work at? And Derek says, I work at Stella's Cafe downtown. Downtown is a very, very important word in English. It means, well, at least in Mexico, we say centro, el centro, right? Stella's Cafe downtown, right? Amy says, that's cool. How do you like it? Another very important question. How do you like it? How do you like it? All of that is like a phrase almost, right? And how do you like it? It's very similar to so what do you think about it? Very similar. But how do you like it is like, ¿qué te parece? ¿Qué opinas de eso? ¿Cómo está? Right? It's like asking like that question there. Then it says there, it's okay. I mean, he says, I'm on my feet all day, so I'm always tired. Ooh, he's tired all the time. I'm on my feet all day. And then she says, what do you do? So I'm on my feet all day, literally, feet, pies. So he says, I'm on my feet all day. Está parado todo el día, básicamente. Si lo leemos literalmente, like literally, here it says, estoy en mis pies todo el día, but it's like parado. That's basically the idea, right? So Amy says, I'm a dancer. Okay, a dancer. He says, a dancer? How exciting. It's like, wow, how exciting. Amy says, yeah, it's great. It's great. I work with incredible people. Right? No problem, I think. Incredible people, fine. Then Derek says, that sounds really nice, but is it difficult? Remember the other class? Difficult jobs. I think, for example, this one's here. These are not very difficult words. These are not very difficult jobs, right? Usually, except for babysitter. I think babysitter is very difficult, but in general, I think like a dancer, I believe a dancer is very difficult. In my opinion, I'm sure it's a very difficult job, definitely. So Amy says, a little. I'm on my feet all day too, but I love it. Well, obviously, she is a dancer, so obviously she is on her feet all day too. Okay, perfect. Now, please, let's go to the next part. Okay, so here we have some grammar, but this is very, very simple. Look, easy peasy. What do you do, right? Let's go here first. So, what do you do, right? What do you do? So, for example, in my case, what do you do, Mr. Salas? Right? What do you do? Okay, so if I say, what do you do? For example, in my case, well, I'm an English teacher, right? I can say that I'm an English teacher, no problem. Well, so what do you do? I'm an English teacher. Now here, the answer here is, oh well, I'm a student, right? I'm a student. You can say that, and then it says I have a part-time job. Okay, that's fine. So what do you do? It's a question about your job. Not your job. So another possibility, not very common, but possible, is what is your job? I mean, yeah, it's okay. It's okay, but what do you do is much, much more common and more conversational, definitely. So that's another one. Then we have, where do you work, right? Where do you work? So, for example, where do you work? In my case, I work in Puebla, in Mexico, right? What about you? Where do you work? Or if you are not if you are not an employee, if you don't have a job, where do you study? Where do you study? What's the name of your school, for example? Then it says, actually here, that is the question. Where do you go to school? You know, where do you go to school? So here the answers are. So here, for example, the answers are, I work at a restaurant and I go to the University of Texas. Okay, that's fine. I think it's okay. Where do you go to school? Obviously, you mean like school, like I go to the university. I go to the University of Texas, like in the answer here, right? For example, no problem. And now, para el chisme, maybe you want to ask about another person, not you, but another person. So, for example, what does Amy do? What does Amy do? Right? So you say, what does Amy do? Oh, she's a dancer, right? Or imagine you're talking about me. Hey, what does Mr. Salas do? Right? What does Mr. Salas do? Right? So you would say something like, what does Mr. Salas do? Oh, he is an English teacher. You can say he is an English teacher. No? Or he works in Puebla. Right? He works in Puebla. De hecho, tengo un video justamente explicando esto de agregarle una S al verbo. Se los voy a dejar en la descripción para que lo vean. Ahí está explicado exactamente por qué sucede y cuándo sucede. Check that out. Okay, so then we continue. And we have this word, now the new one. How does she like it? How does she like it? Well, she loves it. She thinks it's great. La la la. Perfect. So these are questions to ask about your job, like something, like what do you do? Where do you work? Maybe you can ask, for example, it's not here, but it's possible, right? For example, why do you work? Sure, You know, sure, that's possible. Why do you work? ¿Por qué trabajas? Now, please be very, very careful. What do you do? Sorry, that is not correct. This is incorrect. That is wrong. Okay? What do you do? No. What do you do? What do you do? That is correct. Right? That is the correct version of this. What do you do? Now, another example. For example, with a different verb. Where you work? Where you work, sorry, that is not correct. Where you work, no. We need do. Do or does, depending, right? So for example, where do you work? That's correct. Where do you work? That is correct. So this, where do you work? This is correct. Perfect. That's correct. Where you work? Where do you work? Now, another example. When, right? Maybe when. And now let's ask about Mr. Salas, right? So when Mr. Salas, right? When Mr. Salas work. This is, sorry, again, this is incorrect. Sorry, this is incorrect. So what's the correct version? So when Mr. Salas work? No, sorry. So the correct is when do Mr. Salas work? Correct? No, sorry. This is still incorrect. Sorry, incorrect. So what is the correct version? Easy. When does Mr. Salas work? That is correct. When does Mr. Salas work? So what's the difference? Look, Mr. Salas is he, right? So for he or she or it, I need to use the auxiliary does. So I need to say does. When does Mr. Salas work? That's correct. When do Mr. Salas work? Sorry, no. And obviously when Mr. Salas work, that is super incorrect too. So it's when does Mr. Salas work? Now, the answer, he work in the morning. Yeah, he work in the morning. Sorry, that is not correct. This is incorrect. He work in the morning. Not really. Sorry. The correct version is he works in the morning. That is correct. He works in the morning. E insisto, chicos, si tienen una duda de por qué sucede esto y cómo funciona, ahí voy a dejar el video en la descripción para que no les quede duda alguna de por qué es works y no work. Okay? Perfect. Good. So this is some grammar. And now, please, try to do this exercise here. All this exercise, try to do this exercise. So for now, bye-bye. My camera, goodbye. Boom, I'm gone. Just do this exercise. Very, very important. Okay? From number 1 to number 4, practice, and write in the comments. Let's see if you can do it. Okay? Yeah, take a screenshot. Okay, I'm back. Hello, I'm here again. So, that's it. Thank you very much. Saludos a todos nuestros alumnos autodidactas y futuros políglotas. Class dismissed.